Yo, what if I told you that right now, someone close to you is planning to lie straight to your face today? And here's the scary part, bro. You probably won't even notice. Most people get lied to like 10 to 20 times every single day without having a clue. But what if you could flip the script? What if you could become like a human lie detector and catch every single lie before you get fooled? Dude, smash that like button and subscribe to Growth Vibe right now because I'm about to teach you secrets that detectives and FBI agents use to catch liars instantly. Here's what nobody tells you about lying. It's not just about catching bad people or criminals. Your best friend might lie about where they went last night. Your roommate might lie about eating your leftovers in the fridge. Even your boss might lie about why your project got rejected. The truth is, bro, everyone lies. And if you can't spot it, you're basically living in a world full of fake stories of manipulation. But here's the good news. Secret agents, detectives, and interrogation experts have been using hidden psychological tricks to catch liars for years. And today, I'm going to break down their most powerful techniques so you can use them in real life. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly when someone is lying to you, even before they finish their sentence. No way! This is going to be insane. All right, first technique is called the assumption question trick. And bro, this is genius. Most people ask terrible questions that make lying super easy. Like asking someone, "Did you go out last night?" That's way too simple to lie about. They just say no, and you're done. But here's what smart detectives do instead. They ask questions that assume the lie is already true. Instead of asking, "Did you go out last night?" Try this. "What time did you get home last night?" See the difference, dude? You're not asking if they went out. You're assuming they did go out, and now they have to either tell the truth or make up a whole detailed story. And making up detailed stories is where liars always mess up because their brain has to work overtime. I tried this on my buddy who I suspected ate my pizza. Instead of asking, "Did you eat my pizza?" I said, "Yo, how was my pizza?" And bro, he froze for like 3 seconds, then started rambling about how he was hungry and I wasn't home. Caught him red-handed just by changing how I asked the question. Stick figure idea? Show a detective asking a question and the liar's brain explodes with smoke coming out because they're panicking. Second technique is the 5-second body rule. And this one's like having literal superpowers, no joke. When you ask someone a tricky question, you need to watch them like a hawk for exactly the first 5 seconds. Not 6, not 4, exactly 5 seconds. Why? Because that's when their brain is fighting the hardest between truth and lie. After 5 seconds, they've had enough time to think of a smooth lie and calm down. But in those first 5 seconds, their body tells the truth, even when their mouth doesn't. Look for these signs, bro. They touch their face or neck. They look away or up at the ceiling. They pause way too long before answering. Or their voice gets weird and shaky. Now here's the key. One sign means absolutely nothing. People touch their face all the time. But if you see 2 or more signs in those 5 seconds, boom, you've caught them. And here's the crazy part, dude. This works even on people who think they're master liars because the body doesn't lie, even when the person wants to. I used this on a girl who says she was just friends with some guy. I asked her about him and watched her. She touched her hair, looked down, and paused. 3 signs in 5 seconds, bro. Turns out they were definitely more than friends. Your body language never lies. Third technique is called the baseline reading method. And this is straight from FBI training manuals. No cap. Before you ask any tricky questions, you need to watch how the person acts when they're totally normal and relaxed. Notice their voice tone, how they sit, how they move their hands, how much they blink. This is their baseline, their normal mode. Once you know how they act when everything's chill, you can instantly spot when something changes. If someone who usually looks you dead in the eye suddenly stares at the floor, that's a red flag, dude. If someone who talks fast and loud suddenly talks slow and quiet, something's definitely up. It's like having a secret code that only you can read. Here's a personal story, bro. My cousin always talks with his hands when he's relaxed. But when I asked him if he borrowed my headphones without asking, his hands went completely still and into his pockets. That was not his baseline. I knew instantly he was lying, And sure enough, I found my headphones in his room later. Baseline reading is so powerful because everyone has their own unique patterns. All right, real quick. If you're learning how to catch liars like a pro, do me a massive favor and smash that like button right now and subscribe to Growth Vibe because we drop psychology hacks like this every week. You don't want to miss this stuff, trust me. Your future self will thank you for learning these skills. Let's keep going. Fourth technique is the double check trap. And bro, this one's sneaky as hell. Here's how it works. You ask about the same event or story twice, but you ask it in completely different ways at different times. First you ask, "You said you were at the gym yesterday, right?" They say yes. Then like 10 or 15 minutes later, you casually ask, "So what exercises did you do at the gym yesterday?" Liars forget what they said the first time because they're not remembering real events. They're remembering fake stories. They might say, "Yeah, I was at the gym," and then later accidentally say, "Oh wait, I didn't actually go. I was planning to go." Boom, caught in the trap. Truth tellers stay super consistent because they're remembering something that actually happened to them. I did this with a coworker who said they finished a project. I said, "Nice, you finished it." Later I asked, "What was the hardest part of finishing it?" And dude, they started stuttering and changing their story. Turns out they barely started it. Fake stories are really hard to keep straight in your head, but real memories stay consistent forever. Fifth technique is the weak word detection method. And once you learn this, you'll hear it everywhere, I swear. When people lie, they use wishy-washy, uncertain words to give themselves an escape route. Words like maybe, I think, probably, I guess, kind of, or sort of. They do this because they're terrified of getting caught in a firm, confident lie. Instead of saying, "I was at home last night," a liar says, "I think I was probably at home last night." See how weak that sounds, bro? They're not committing to the lie fully because their brain knows it's fake. They're leaving themselves wiggle room to change the story later if they get caught. Pay super close attention to these weak words, especially when someone's telling you something important. If they can't say it with full confidence and clarity, maybe they're not telling you the truth. I noticed my friend kept saying, "I guess," and "probably" when talking about where his money went. Turns out he was hiding that he spent it all on video games. Confident truth tellers don't need weak words. Sixth technique is called the topic escape pattern. This one's my personal favorite because it's so obvious once you know what to look for. When someone's lying and you're getting dangerously close to exposing the truth, they'll suddenly try to change the subject out of nowhere. Their brain hits the panic button and tries to run away from the conversation. They might randomly say something like, "Oh hey, did you see that crazy video on Instagram?" Or, "Dude, I totally forgot to tell you about this funny thing that happened." It seems natural, but it's actually their subconscious trying to escape the uncomfortable situation. When this happens, don't let them off the hook. Gently bring them back to the original topic. Yeah, we can talk about that in a minute, but first, finish telling me about what happened last night. Watch how uncomfortable and fidgety they get, bro. I used this when my brother tried to change the subject while explaining why my car had a new scratch. He kept trying to talk about sports and weather. I kept bringing him back, and eventually he admitted he hit a pole. Seventh technique is the interruption confusion test. And dude, this one's almost unfair, but it works like magic. Here's how you do it. Right when someone's in the middle of telling their story, you interrupt them with a random question about something that happened before their current story. Like if they're saying, "So I went to the store and bought some milk and bread," you jump in with, "Wait, hold up. What were you doing right before you decided to go to the store?" This messes up their brain completely because lying takes a ton of mental energy and focus. When you interrupt, you force them to juggle two things at once: their fake story they're telling and your new random question. Most liars can't handle this mental overload, and they either get super confused, pause way too long, or start telling a completely different story that doesn't match. I tested this on someone who claimed they studied all night. I interrupted with, "Wait, what did you eat for dinner before you started studying?" They completely blanked out and couldn't answer because they never actually studied, bro. Truth tellers can handle interruptions easily because they're just recalling real memories, not juggling fake details. Last technique, and this is the ultimate trap. It's called the false detail plant. Here's what you do. You slip a completely wrong detail into the conversation and wait to see how they react. Like saying, "Oh yeah, you said it was raining that day, right?" Even though they never mentioned rain at all, and it wasn't raining. Someone telling the truth will correct you immediately without hesitation. They'll say, "No, dude, it wasn't raining at all. It was sunny." But liars often go along with your fake detail because they're so afraid that correcting you will make their whole story fall apart. They think if they disagree with you, you'll start questioning everything and catch them.
I used this when someone said they went to a concert. I said, "Oh yeah, the one that started at 9 p.m., right?" When I knew it started at 8. They agreed with me, even though I was wrong. That told me they probably didn't even go, because real concert goers know exactly what time it started. This trap works because liars are in defensive mode and scared to contradict anything.
There you have it, bro. 7 insanely powerful techniques to catch anyone in a lie, whether it's your friends, family, coworkers, or anyone else. Remember, combine all these tricks with your gut feeling. If something feels off in your stomach, it probably is. Your intuition plus these techniques makes you basically unstoppable at detecting lies. Here's what I want you to do right now. Try these methods out in real life this week, and then come back and tell me in the comments which one worked best for you. Did you catch someone lying? Which technique exposed them? I want to hear your crazy stories, dude. And if this video helped you become a human lie detector, smash that like button one more time and subscribe to Growth 5 for more psychology secrets like this. We're dropping life-changing content every single week. Now here's my question for you, and I need you to answer honestly in the comments. Have you ever been lied to by someone you trusted? And looking back now, what signs did you miss? Drop your story below because I read every single comment. Catch you in the next one, bro. Stay sharp, stay smart, and never get fooled again.